Hello, my name is Curtis Chambers, and Daulton Weit will be assisting me. We're going to go over geranium cuttings here at Williamson Trade. Some of the things that we do with geraniums and how the propagation geranium cuttings are, the different aspects of it, and the process of it, because not many people realize where their plants come from. And there's many different ways to do it. There's seeds, there's cuttings ordered, but sometimes you can have mother plants that you can take cuttings off of, and that's what we're going to be doing here, and we're going to show the process.
I'm going to show you our mix that we do for the actual cutting. We do 1-to-1 with the potting soil and perlite. We want the soil to hold moisture, but not too much so that the cutting will rot. That's why we add the perlite. So, just 1 scoop of perlite for 1 scoop of soil. Mix it in real good. That's really good for the geraniums to start off with. Into the flat. You want to make sure you water this really well before you stick the cuttings in, because it's really hard to start to get wet.
Okay, now we're going to show you how to take the cuttings off the plants. A lot of greenhouses, sometimes what they'll do is they'll have mother plants on stock at all times, and they'll just take cuttings off of them. Or they'll order in cuttings from overseas. A lot of cuttings come from India and so forth, but what we're going to use is these mother plants we have here. So what you do is you want to cut off a new growth area. You want it to be new growth, kind of like that. What you want to do is you want to peel off and break off all these little leaves around the bottom of the stem. And it's important to get all the little leaves and the growth down there to make sure it's a completely clean stem, because if you don't, that can cause diseases, and that'd be a place where disease can come in and where rotting could occur. That's what you want to do. And then that's your done cutting right there.
So here we have the dressed geranium cuttings. What we're going to do is we're sticking them here now. You can use root hormone if you want, but you don't have to with geraniums. Just take a pen or like a marker, make a hole, stick them in, and then you just kind of pack it so it's nice and tight. And you just keep on going down the line. So after you stick the geranium cuttings, you want to stick them under a mister until they're rooted out. These ones have been here for about a month, and they're already starting to root out a little bit. I don't want to pull them out because they're brand new. But you stick them underneath the mister, and the water comes on about every 5 minutes, depending on how hot it is. So they stay under here until they're nice and rooted out, and then you pop them out and stick them into 4-inch pot. Same with these ones here. So that's what you do with your flat after you stick your geranium cuttings.
Okay, after about a month, maybe a month to 3 weeks, these geraniums will be rooted out enough that you're going to pull them out of the flats. And this is kind of like what they'll look like right here. They'll put on a little more growth. I mean, originally this spring they only had probably 3 or 4 leaves. They'll add a few more leaves on top of here, and they'll show that they've put on true roots. So what you want to do is you want to take your 4-inch pots, and then what you want to do is you can do it normal. You don't have to do like a hardy perlite mix, but geranium's like real fluffy soil. So you can either add some more peat moss to your soil to add a little more fluff to it. So what you can do is take like your normal perlite and soil mix and pour it in here. And the key is not burying your geranium too much, because that can be like a mistake a lot of people do. Put it too far in, the roots are too far down. So what you want to do, you want to get a nice fluffy soil mixture around it. Pretty much pack it down and get a nice base on there. They can get a chance to start rooting out of this pot, because eventually this plant will be moved to bigger pots and bigger pots as it goes along throughout its life. And that's how you pretty much are going to pot up your geraniums after they rooted out.
So here we are. This was the geranium cutting that we did and then transferred into a 4-inch pot, and it's been grown for about a month and a half. The next step is going to be cutting it back a little bit so that it gets fuller. So what you're going to do is you're going to come in and you're going to find a nice node. You're going to snip it off right there, and you can use that as another cutting, and then this plant's going to get a lot fuller. So here's one of the ones that was already cut back, and then you can just see how much fuller it gets from that little snip. So that's why you snip them back, you get more cuttings, and it makes a nice full geranium.
So what you want to do after you've been pinching them back, they're going to get real full. And sometimes when you get a real full geranium, it won't allow for like easy drying with the soil, because geraniums are very sensitive to that. And sometimes if you get some dead leaves in there and some really wet dead leaves in there, it will cause diseases. That'll be problems eventually that you're going to have to deal with. So what you want to do is you really want to go around the bottom and pull out all the bottom leaves that are prohibiting the drying underneath the plant. And this is when they're still in their 4-inch pots. And geranium leaves pull out pretty easily, so it's not real difficult to do. So after your geranium gets so large, I mean, you can start adding different things to it, add a little more like color. And what you can do is you put them in hanging baskets and add different flowering vinyl plants or like baby spreads or something like that. Depends what cultivar you have. I mean, there's so many cultivars of geraniums, there's reds. You can see some of the ones we have here. We have the more ivy geranium right here, has a shinier leaf, smoother leaf. The more non-ivy geranium has like a softer leaf to it. And you have cultivars like the Vancouver cultivar, like has the variegated end, like green. A lot of people like this. You got other cultivars like this that are more of a dark green and have like a lighter green variegated in the end of it and the inside. And sometimes they'll even change the red, depends also how old the plant is. So you can have many different varieties, also like this white variegated end with this light green.